Hello students, welcome to the daily news analysis. I am your educator Prithviraj Singh. Today we will be discussing the important news articles of 9th of March 2022. Let us begin with the session. Guys, on the very front page of the Hindu, there was a news article about Ukraine dropping its pitch for Nato. It has been the 12th day of Russian invasion in Ukraine, and as it was apparent that the Ukraine president Zelensky would be joining the NATO, right, and that was the root cause behind the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Now the Ukrainian president Zelensky is saying that I am no longer pressing for NATO membership. That means NATO is not my priority, and possibly he has given up his desire to join NATO, right? Possibly this is to placate the Russian forces which are there and which have occupied many places in Ukraine. So he has given up his demand or his requirement or his desire to join NATO. At least he has he has hinted towards this, right? And he has said that he is open for compromise on the status of two breakaway pro-Russian territories. Guys, we all know that these two pro-Russian territories are Donetsk and Luhansk, and they are in which region? Donbas, the eastern Ukrainian region, which from 2014 onwards has been declared as People's Republic. People's Republic, right? So it has been declared as People's Republic post 2014, correct? After the Crimean annexation. So you all know that after the Crimea annexation by Russia in the year 2014, these two territories of Donetsk and Luhansk were being declared as People's Republic, and right on 23rd February this year, Russian president declared independence to the Donbas region, right? So Zelensky has said that he is ready for the compromise on the two breakaway territories of the pro-Russian territories, right? I hope it is clear. So these are the two territories that we are hinting at, the eastern Ukraine, right? As you can see in the map of the Ukraine, Crimea, which was annexed by Russia in the year 2014. Then you have the eastern region of Ukraine, which is the Donbas region. Donetsk and Luhansk are its two cities, and which are being declared as independent, right? As you can see, guys, here, Donetsk People's Republic and Luhansk People's Republic, right? Correct. So in this sense, as you know that in 2014, when Crimea was annexed, Russia declared the independence to the not the independence at least, but he recognized Donbas region as People's Republic, and because ethnically, culturally, linguistically they are Russians, right? And therefore Russia has also issued 8 lakh passports to residents, the residents of Donbas, right? Now we all know that post 2014, there was also a civil war which broke out between the Donbas region, which is a pro-Russian region, and the pro-West government at Kyiv, right? Because the last president who was the supporter of Russia was Viktor Yanukovych, and he was being removed from his office in the year 2014, right? Viktor Yanukovych, because of the protest, something also called as Euromaidan protest, right? So we have discussed it many times that in 2014 there were protests also called as Euromaidan protests, and they have resulted into Viktor Yanukovych being removed from the office, right? Post that, Russia has seen pro-West president, right? So there was civil war between the Donbas region and the pro-West Kyiv, correct? And in order to pacify this civil war, Minsk Accords were signed. Minsk Accords in the year 2014 and 2015 were signed. However, they failed, right? So guys, this is the Donbas region, Donetsk and Luhansk. It shares its boundary with Russia, and right, and this is the Sea of Azov, correct, which is a bay for Black Sea, right. Now if I talk about NATO, which we were discussing in the past 2 days, NATO is definitely stands for collective security. It is a military alliance and it works on the principle of mutual defense. That means an attack on any one nation would be considered as an attack on all, right. And they actually uses Article 5 of the Washington Treaty, right. So that means whenever there is an attack on any of the NATO nation, they would stand in collective defense, right. And this is mentioned under Article 5 of the Washington Treaty, right. So guys, they may ask you that which among the following articles of the Washington Treaty, talks about the collective defense clause of NATO. So it is Article 5 of Washington Treaty, correct. So so NATO is committed to the principle of an attack against one or several of its members would be considered as an attack against all, right. And they follow something called as principle of collective defense, correct. So as far, and the second statement, the examiner might ask you that they may put this statement that Article 5 has been invoked how many times. So guys, till date Article 5 has been invoked only once, and that too in response to 9/11 terrorist attacks, right, in United States in 2001, right. So where Al Qaeda was involved in 9/11 attacks, in the year 2001 on America, on World Trade Park, NATO for the first time invoked Article 5, right. So so in this sense there are two statements which may be asked by the examiner. Number one, which among the following articles talk about the collective defense or mutual defense? So answer is Article 5 of Washington Treaty. Number two, Article 5 has been invoked how many times? It has been invoked just once, again in response to 9/11 terrorist attack in America in the year 2001, right. So I hope we are clear with these two important facts. So guys, today we know that NATO is is headquartered at Belgium, and it has how many members? 30 members, right. And the latest entrant into the NATO is North Macedonia in the year 2020, right. So what are the pros and cons for Moscow? See guys, in the Georgia case, Russia used recognition of the breakaway regions to justify an open-ended military presence. We all know that on 22nd Feb the Winter Olympics ended, right. So it was a very calculative move. Winter Olympics, which were held in Beijing, China, were closed on 22nd February. 23rd February, Russia declared independence to Donbas region, and 24th February they invaded Ukraine, right. So has they done it before? Yes. In the case of Georgia, Russia recognized them, because guys, when they have declared independence to Donbas, they invoked Schedule 7 of United Nations Charter, conducting special military operations. That means if any country has been declared as independent, Schedule 7 of the United Nations Charter does allow the alien country to start the special military operation, correct, special military operation, right. And so this was also used in the Georgia's case, which actually recognized it to be an independent, and then it used the special military operation. So guys, America has put sanctions on Russia, and as you all know that many economic sanctions, trade sanctions are being imposed. Russia also have huge oil and natural gas reserves, right. Now in order to balance the global trade, American delegation has met the Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. As you all know that Venezuela is a South American country, and its president Nicolas Maduro has had a word with the American President Joe Biden over the energy supplies, right? So in this sense, they may ask you that which among the following is the president of Venezuela? So it is Nicolas Maduro, as you can see on the screen. Now, Venezuelan opposition also said that it had met with the high-level US delegation, and Washington seeks to isolate Russia over its invasion of Ukraine. As far as the OPEC is concerned, it is Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, right? And you know, it was created in Baghdad Conference in the year 1960 by the founding members Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, because Venezuela guys also have huge oil reserves. So the founding members were the 4 Gulf countries: Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia and Venezuela. So this is the crude oil reserves in billion barrels, right? As you can see, Russia has 80 billion barrels, Iran 158, Iraq 142, Kuwait 101, Saudi highest 266. Even to that extent, Venezuela has much more oil reserves as compared to Saudi Arabia, that is 300 billion barrels, right? So this is the oil. These are the crude oil reserves in the world, right? Even Canada has the crude oil reserves. Like guys, coming to the editorial of the Hindu. So there was a very important article, editorial with regard to clear signals, right? Now we know that China is very much apprised by the Indo-Pacific strategy of America. Guys, in order to counter China, America has joined hands with India, Japan and Australia in something called as quadrilateral dialogue, or Quad. Now it is not a security alliance or a military alliance. Definitely security is one part of Quad, but it also talks about free and open navigation. It also talks for international economy. It also works for COVID vaccinations, right? So it is not limited to security provisions, so therefore it is not a security alliance, correct? Now China has warned America against this this, I would say, NATO expansion in Asia, right? And something it calls Asian NATO, and this Beijing has referred 15 years back, even when Quad was not there, right? Guys, China is accusing America of stalking geopolitical rivalry by forming exclusive clubs. We all know that America, in order to counter China, is forming exclusive clubs. For example, also it has joined hands with Australia in something called as AUKUS, correct? So China has clearly and repeatedly blamed NATO for the crisis in Ukraine and has moved to reaffirm ties with Russia. And last Monday, Beijing has clearly said that our relationship with Russia are rock solid. That means they are very strong, right? And the reason behind the Russian invasion, which China is quoting, is the NATO's eastward expansion in Europe, right? And that is the reason why there is a growing axis, China-Russia axis, right? So there are many associations, like as we will be discussing, like AUKUS, Five Eyes Alliance, right? ANZUS. So first talking about AUKUS Security Alliance. Now A stands for Australia, UK is United Kingdom, US is America, right? So AUKUS is a security alliance where America and UK would be sharing the technology transfer to Australia, and Australia would be building something called as nuclear powered submarines, right? Guys, we all know that Australia is a non-nuclear weapon state, and it is the first time in 60 years that America has signed a nuclear powered submarine technology transfer to Australia, right? And the only other country which it has transferred the technology for nuclear powered submarines is UK, correct? So very important. In AUKUS, Australia will acquire the nuclear powered submarines. Guys, nuclear powered submarine doesn't mean nuclear manned submarines, or it doesn't mean that the submarines would be launching the nuclear attacks. It is just that it would run through nuclear power. It would be operated through nuclear power and not the traditional batteries. So it would be run from nuclear power, correct? Now it would be built in Adelaide, Australia. So it is very important. They may confuse you that are they being procured from America or UK? No, they would be built in Adelaide, Australia. However, the technology transfer would be coming from America, correct? So as I said that the submarines would not be nuclear armed submarines. That means they won't be launching the nuclear attacks, but they would just be powered by nuclear reactors. That means the source of energy is nuclear energy. So if I talk about the nuclear powered submarines, definitely India also have nuclear powered submarines, along with Russia, China and US, UK तो है ही है. इसके अलावा you have France, correct? So you all know US, UK, France, Russia and China, they all are P5 countries of United Nations Security Council. So Russia, China, France, UK, US are the P5 countries plus India, right? So India also has nuclear powered submarines, right? So this is a group of 6 countries which have nuclear powered submarines, and Australia would become the 7th country to join this elite club. I hope it is clear, right? At the same time, Australia would also become the only country to have such submarines without having a civilian nuclear power industry. As I said, guys, Australia do not have nuclear civilian industry, or it doesn't have civilian nuclear power industry. It doesn't have civilian nuclear power industry, and then also it has procured the nuclear powered submarines from America, correct? So in this sense, Australia has become the only country to have such submarines without having the civilian nuclear industry. So I hope it is clear. Guys, under the AUKUS alliance, the US, UK are willing to export nuclear technology to a non-nuclear powered nation. So guys, it is a very important fact that Australia is a non-nuclear powered nation, correct? As we all know that Quad is a non-security grouping. It is not a security grouping. So the AUKUS would bring a security adjunct to the Quad and will give Australia naval heft in the Pacific, where China has been particularly aggressive. Guys, we all know that China is very much aggressive and is asserting some territories, is putting the claims in the South China Sea, right? Now in order to counter China, Australia is very important, and that is the reason why AUKUS was signed. And AUKUS, guys, is strictly a security alliance, as against Quad, which is not a security alliance. But AUKUS is a security alliance, right? And it will give Australia the naval power, the naval heft in the Indo-Pacific. I hope we are clear with this. Guys, one more important fact, and the examiner might confuse you regarding this. As far as the conventional submarines are concerned, the difference between the conventional submarines and the nuclear powered submarines is that the conventional submarines need to come to the surface in order to charge their batteries, right? So they have to come to the surface in order to charge their batteries, whereas the nuclear powered submarines need not come to the surface to recharge their batteries, right? So very important, and this actually gives an advantage or an edge to the nuclear powered submarines, correct? So they don't have to come to the surface to charge their batteries. Plus they are also able to move faster underwater than compared to the conventional submarines, right? So in this sense, it augments your defense capabilities. I hope it is clear. Guys, apart from the Quad and the AUKUS, there are also some other security alliances in Indo-Pacific. However, they're old, but they are still there, like ANZUS and Five Eyes Alliance. Let us discuss about ANZUS. As the name suggests, guys, ANZUS stands for Australia, New Zealand, NZ is New Zealand, and US is United States, right? So Australia, New Zealand and United States Security Treaty, also called as ANZUS Treaty, was an agreement signed in 1951, guys. So very, very old, 1951, to protect the security of the Pacific. So right in the year 1951, the ANZUS Security Treaty was signed. I hope it is making sense. Plus, there is also, and it is very, very important, guys, there is strong probability of the questions being asked on NATO, on Warsaw Pact, on Russian invasion of Ukraine, on Indo-Pacific, on AUKUS, on Quad, on ANZUS, and also on Five Eyes. Guys, Five Eyes is an Anglosphere intelligence alliance, right? So it is a signal intelligence. In this sense, the Five Eyes include US, UK, New Zealand, Australia. That means these are the ANZUS countries. ANZUS, right? ANZUS plus Canada. Or you can say plus UK, right? Or you can say AUKUS. AUKUS mein you got UK, US, Australia plus Canada plus NZ. So in this way also you can learn, right? Any which ways, the five countries are Australia, UK, US, Canada, New Zealand, right? So they are called as Five Eyes, right? Five Eyes, and it is actually a signal based intelligence. So they would be sharing the signals and it would augment their defense capabilities, right? So they are these countries are also the party to multilateral UKUSA agreement, right? UKUSA agreement is UK, USA, Australia agreement, correct? Now, as far as the Malabar exercise is concerned, we all know that Malabar is was a bilateral naval exercise between India and USA, although in 1992, and it became multilateral. Later it became multilateral exercise, and today Australia and Japan are also jointly perform this Malabar exercise. So you have India plus America plus Australia plus Japan. So Malabar exercises are the joint naval exercises between India, Australia, US and Japan, right? And guys, you all know that these are all Quad countries. So this is how you relate the things. You all know that these are Quad countries: India, US, Australia and Japan. So the Quad countries also perform the Malabar exercise. It is a joint naval exercise. So we have discussed very important facts with regard to ANZUS, Five Eyes and Malabar exercise. So Five Eyes is a signal intelligence alliance, right? Anglosphere Intelligence Alliance. I hope it is clear. So guys, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the session. Stay tuned, press the like button, do like, share and comment. That's all for today. God bless you. Wish you all the best. Good day. Goodbye.